So, this particular question, something that has actually recently come to me, and I really wanted to just bring this about to you guys because you know what? If they're thinking it, you're definitely going to be thinking it. And it's actually a question that I don't think I've actually touched base on before. So, this whole idea of how do you actually make your personal brand actually work together with your corporate brand is not something I've actually touched base on. So I'm going to be doing that in this particular video, and I want to make sure that you guys in particular are getting to grips with all these key points and I'm going to be sharing with you because they're super important. It's funny when the obvious doesn't actually just come straight to you, but at the same time, guess what? It has done. And thank you to all those who have actually brought this question to me. And so now I want to share this with you. However, before we get stuck into this, please make sure you go ahead and stick around to the very end of this video because as always, I've got a super cool load of principles to be able to share with you. So in order to be able to understand what they are, you need to be able to watch what this video is about so that everything becomes super clear to yourself, and equally what you can do to keep going even more so. That being said, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel because as always, I share content like this. I share information all about branding, but more specifically to help you, my viewer, to understand that you are more than what you see. And yes, by the way, you deserve to be in so many different spaces, and my videos help you to understand that and equally understand what it is that you need to do in order to be able to get into those spaces. And there's so many ways, but at the same time, the bite-sized chunks that I give to you guys are there for the taking, and more importantly, there for the action. So please make sure you go ahead and do something with this information. Don't just take it in. As much as I love the views, which is absolutely brilliant, I also want to see you subscribing as well. So that side, once you subscribe, please make sure you go ahead and just share this content with all others who you think could really benefit from branding advice just like this. So folks, without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So okay, as I said, we're going to be talking about the idea of how your personal brand actually works together with your corporate brand, because it is actually quite important to know and understand this. And believe it or not, it's not as complicated as what you think, because the main reason is the corporate brand that you're building usually comes from you. So that's one area ticked in the sense where you know what it's about. You know the whole area of expertise as to what it is. If it's not something that you've grown from scratch, well then it's okay. It's still something that correlates with your values. And by the way, your values, I'm going to say it as always, is something that's going to be leading or even taking you through to that next level. Because once you understand what your values are, you're going to understand how to make sure that your corporate brand and your personal brand stays meshed together, and equally how it will work quite nicely together as well. So, okay, values aside, understand what they are, equally understand what you're going to be leading with. What are your top 5 values? We're just going to go with those. What is it that makes you do what you do? And equally understand why it is that you do what you do. Because when you get to grips with that is, what that is, you'll be able to understand how to make sure that your personal brand and your corporate brand actually works super nice together. Remember that your values, especially when you're talking about the corporate entity, especially when you're talking about a business brand, right? Your business brand or corporate brand, however you want to phrase it, is always going to be about them, as in your audience, as in those you're actually delivering your service to. How your personal brand actually starts coming into play is when you actually start talking about your own personal experiences. When you start using your own personal experiences to help explain what it is that you went through, but equally how it is that you actually got to the other side, and more importantly, how you can now help your client or your prospect or whoever it is that you're speaking to also get to the other side. That's how you incorporate your personal brand. Use your personal brand as well by way of what your appearance is. If, for example, there's certain elements, your hair or what it is that you typically wear, the color that you have, your brand color, your primary brand color that represents who you are, if that's something that you have for appearance-wise, make sure that you also bring that to the table when it comes to your business brand or your corporate brand, however you want to phrase it, okay? And then the other thing I want to make sure that you guys are more specifically also doing is bringing what I call the unique human point to the table. Now, I didn't come up with that term. However, ever since I heard it, it makes so much sense because your unique human point is what literally brings the human to business, and equally is what literally brings the human side of anything to what gets attracted to by your client, by your prospect, by your viewer, anybody who's actually seeing you. Your unique human point comes from your values. It comes from the vision that you have. It comes from the purpose that you want to be able to help drive or take that person to the next level. Your unique human point will also help you to understand how you start bringing that personal brand into your corporate and business brand space as well. So I'm conscious I've reeled off a few things there. But essentially what you need to do is make sure that you bring that unique human point, that personal brand, those personal branded elements, whether it's in your appearance, the phrases that you're constantly saying, the values that you have based on your personal brand, bring it to the table for your business brand so that it all works in harmony together. Because when you start doing that, that's how you start seeing your personal brand and your business brand really, really work together. So it's not as complicated as you think. So sometimes, yeah, we don't need to overthink it in this respect. It literally is you. You are your personal brand. That means you get to bring you to the table, which is something I wholeheartedly believe in. And especially if you've ever seen me or heard me talk on other different platforms, you'll know I'm all about why representation matters. Now, if your representation, if what it is that you stand for, if what it is that you believe in ties nicely into your business, into your corporate space, bring your experiences to the table. If you're all about wanting to make sure that people are standing out from the competition, or people have their own unique voices, or people are aware that even more so that their own voice is allowed to be heard and deserves to be heard, well then you need to be showing up as what you're helping them to see. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to say it again. You need to be showing up as the thing, what you're helping them to be seen as well. Okay? Because when you do that, they understand who you are, more importantly, what you stand for, more importantly. And specifically when it comes to showing up in your actual corporate space or business space, whatever that, however, again, you want to phrase it as, you'll get to grips with how you need to be showing up with your personal brand. So there we go. That's essentially it. Corporate brand, business brand, however you want to phrase it, and how it equally works with your personal brand. They can go hand in hand together, but you just need to make sure that those values, what it is that you stand for, is aligning with what it is that you're trying to say, or the experiences that you're trying to share with your clients, your prospects, or all those who you're working with. And make sure that element, your personal message, is known. As I said, for me, you always know that I'm all about helping others to see that they are more than what they see, but equally also understanding why representation super and really does matter. So what is your message? What is it that you're really wanting others to understand within your corporate space or within your business space? What is that? Again, use your values to help you to push forward or reinforce that experience or that message that you're helping others to move. Because remember, in branding, in business in general, we're helping others to move from whatever space that they're stuck in onto the next step and then some. So, what is that for you? So folks, if you're still stuck on what that may be for yourself, because I know branding can be a lot at times, but at the same time, I deliberately deliver things to you in bite-sized chunks. And with this subject in particular, obviously you want to get it right, and I appreciate and totally understand that. That's why I built together things like principles. And on the note of principles, my 6 key principles, in fact, when it helps you to understand what it is that you're about, if you're stuck on your values, if you're stuck on that vision or even the purpose for what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing, use these principles to help you just to kickstart what you need to be able to understand how you can bring your personal brand into your corporate space, or equally how you can bring your personal brand into your business. How do they mesh together? Understanding things like your VPV, understanding things like the people that you actually need to be getting in contact with, the actual people that you want to be working with. Understanding how you can actually make those better connections to allow for your corporate brand and your personal brand to be able to work together in the first place is super, super key. So use these principles to help you get started. And if that's not even enough for you, there's also still another opportunity off the back of having read those principles. But equally, if they aren't for you, go ahead and just get in touch with me directly. Put a comment underneath this video. Let me know that you are looking for additional help, and I will come in and give you that additional help. Because folks, it's not all about just staying still. It's not all about just quietly suffering. You don't need to. You've got the information and you've got the resources, such as myself, to be able to help you to be able to move forwards. If you're trying to help your clients and your prospects to move forwards, why aren't you, right? Why aren't you? So folks, I'm going to leave it there. Please make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other side.